Scared the cat.
Oh, sorry, Ziggy.
It scares him every time.
Oh.
He's like, loud noise, what?
Why have you done this loud noise? I really wish you would not do that loud noise.
The cat has trust issues now.
Got my haircut, got to have my usual therapy session with my hairdresser. It's just like, let me tell you about everything that's happened in the last month or so.
Cause woo-wee!
Cause who doggy? My brother Donnie's dead. My daddy Donnie's dead.
My brother Mike's dead. My daddy Donnie's dead.
Shotgun face.
What a show of like nothing but severe hits and severe misses in comedy. Like,
I mean, that's anti-humor in general. Is like
guess.
it's a lot of it tends to just kind of be, you know, by virtue of being anti-comedy, not actually funny, but more just funny in how fucking awkward it is.
Shrimp.
What? Shrimp? What? Shrimp?
Shrimp. 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 Shrimp.
And the house Chardonnay for the gentleman.
that's very like I don't think that's funny.
Watch, Bree, you may not be ready for it, but you're gonna love it in like a year when Bridget and I have done it so much that like it's circled around just like the fucking the singing bit. I can't remember. Bang, bang, roll that bang, put him in jail, put him in jail. I want to ride my rocket ship.
Like only the payoff.
Oh no, choo-choo train, not rocket ship.
Yeah, only the payoff bit is really funny to me.
When Josh Groban is singing those songs.
Yeah, the whole just like this kid who can't sing who's gross and greasy for some reason. Like I don't know, man.
Died in a tragic car accident.
Happens to the best of us.
Anyways. I guess we get started now. Hi, everyone!
Hey, what's up?
What reviews connected by cast or crew, deciding the next film, that's the gist. Put it on the list.
We are Put It on the List, and
Hell
we
yeah.
have officially entered year 2.
New year, new us.
Hell yeah.
New year, new us, new rotation. We're gonna have to get used to a new rhythm of saying our names, because first up in the rotation
First up is Donald, Goofy, Sora.
It's always that order. It's always Donald, Goofy, and Sora.
Wait, no, I think it's Sora, Donald, Goofy.
Mickey, you gotta
Damn it.
open the door to darkness.
Did somebody say door to darkness?
Did somebody say door to darkness?
Anyways, the person who just did some kind of Mickey Mouse impersonation is the first one in the rotation.
And that's why
Introduce
we're
yourself.
gonna watch Down and Out with Donald Duck, the documentary, where he uses a shotgun to shoot it at the audience and try to kill Mickey.
Say your name.
Fucking
Bridget.
say your name. And then the next one in the rotation will be...
I have had Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance downloaded to my very cool 3DS for like a year. I need to play that at some point. I'm Evie.
Hold on. Before we continue the introductions, have you played any of the Kingdom Hearts games besides that?
Yeah, I played the first two.
Okay, for
Is
sure.
it-
I didn't know you...
Is it the 3DS version or the HD version?
It's the 3DS version because it's on the 3DS, Bridget.
I'm Bree, the troublemaking scamp.
Yes, you're number 3 in the rotation.
The
and
Dream
then
Drop
last up,
Distance stands for 3D, get it?
Yeah, yes, it's 3Ds.
3D's
D's
nuts.
Oh, the height of comedy. We're starting off strong
I may
this
have
season.
beaten Evie to the punch on that one, but I am last in the rotation. I'm Jay. However,
Again, welcome to Put It on the List. Season 2.
However, before we start the rotation proper, in our year one finale, stop doing the echo bit. In our year one finale, we decided what would be the Wheels movie of choice. We all put a movie, us four and our viewers slash listeners put a movie on a wheel. We spun that wheel and we ended up with the Big Lebowski.
Hell yeah.
Which is that's the Wheels choice. I guess that's going to be the rotation now, is we have the Wheels choice first up, and then we start the rotation proper.
Just to throw a little extra inhuman element of chaos into it. And
yeah.
I love that.
You got to pull the cord before you start the engine.
Yeah.
Goose ourselves up a little bit before we get started.
So I'm going to get your movies for connecting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you'll be connecting off of me.
Evie will be the same. Evie is still stuck with me.
I don't
Still
see it that
stuck
way.
in hell, yeah. Look for English dubs. Just work your way out.
Yeah.
It'll...
Godspeed.
Well, she'll have plenty of options for what I'm picking.
It is actually
later.
like finding a good movie has never actually been a problem for me.
That's fair.
You literally crawled your way, like, fucking clawed through the Burberry bushes, whatever. I don't know the visual metaphor I'm trying to paint here, out of X 1999 to Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
like
one of the voice actors in X, if you were not listening or have forgotten, one of the voice actors in X 1999 has an on-screen role in Saving Private Ryan.
Crazy to think about.
yeah, wild
Small
to
world.
consider. And with this rotation, let me lay out the premise once more for new listeners. Put it on the list. One of us picks a movie to watch, we discuss it, and then the next movie from whoever's next in the rotation has to be connected by that previous one via cast or crew. Slight addendum to the rules. Last season, on Put It on the List, everyone had 2 wild cards. We don't have 2 wild cards anymore. Everyone only gets 1.
But
But
I only used 1 wild card because
Too
everybody
bad.
else was using it.
we discussed this.
You
Don't I get
over.
like a perk or a bonus or something?
No!
Nope, rollover minutes don't exist.
Yeah, no. Like, I will say, here's a possible idea for us to, talk shop on the podcast before talking about the movie. I love Ziggy in the webcam just craving those pets right now.
He's getting the big pets that make his brain weird.
Is he chirping over there too?
No, he's just like slurping his lips. He goes like,
Okay.
Moments like this
So,
make me sad that we're mainly an audio podcast.
Here's an idea I purport to you all. How about part of what decides the order of the movies for the next year, now that we only have 1 wild card each, is whoever uses wild cards first is last in the rotation. And thus, like, each person that uses one is put to the back of the line. So, I use it. If I use my lifeline first, I'm automatically end of the rotation. And then if
like
Bree
that.
used hers, then she would be third.
A little de-incentivization. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Okay.
Cool.
There's the new rules.
It
1
passes.
wild card, and the uses of our wild cards decide the order.
I'm not
Also,
using
didn't
my
we
wild
mention
card.
didn't we mention that like the use of the wild card can only be done like once a cycle?
Well, yeah, that's... Oh, no. That part, I think that's a little bit too strict of a rule.
Okay, all right.
To have it only be once in a rotation.
Because I kind of liked that idea, but if we're not going to go with that, then we shan't announce it that way.
I know I purported that idea, and Evie, you weren't that big of a fan of it. Like, you feel like it kind of robs a little bit of the fun of the wild card in the first place.
Yeah, and
I
also,
guess.
like, it creates a situation where someone, like, if the first person uses the wild card, then, like, anyone behind them could get, like, stuck.
Like,
And avoiding that is the point of the wild cards in the first place.
Like, let's say Bridget used the wild card to go to things. I know you wouldn't do that, Bridget. Also, I think your mic might be muted.
I'm dying.
I don't think you would do that, but hypothetically, if you did, then the only play Evie would have would be whatever other movies the Things guy did, and that's a dire reality to live in.
If they
for us
did
to be
anything
stuck in.
else.
I don't know if we'll have much in the way of small talk in the beginning here, because like catching up with people, because ultimately we just did the year one finale last weekend.
No, yeah.
And I'm gonna be out of town next weekend, so I was just like, we gotta get this one done to stay on track. So I don't know. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about from the last week?
I mean, I've been taking some time off of the streaming, focusing on artwork, got some commissions coming in. It's been kind of zen being able to sort of like at my own pace kind of lean myself into my craft without feeling like, because I don't know, I've been getting burnt out on a lot of the live streaming and the VTubing. It's just then you gotta bring in energy that I haven't had for a bit, and I'm just like, time to reevaluate my energy. So you know what, I'm being mindful. I'm also going to the gym and getting insanely strong so that I can punch fascists. You know, just having a great time. But focusing on my well-being in general. How are y'all?
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Bravely Default over the past week.
How is that game? I feel like I've always heard it's fine, but there's not much beyond that.
I like the game part of it, but the problem is that for the
I have a
most
question
part,
for you, Evie.
Yeah, I was still talking, but sure. What's your question?
My question is Murger.
I like that. I like the girl who goes "rrrr," like, because she's like a grumpy, like she's like a highborn grumpy knight who turned traitor because the evil empire was doing the wrong thing and she couldn't stand it. Like, for the most part, the characters are like archetypes, but they're well rendered archetypes. The one exception is the guy who's horny all the time and will not stop trying to like mac on the girls in the party. And just like when that is like 1/4 of the characters that you're with the entire time, that wears on you.
How's it going, dudes?
That's understandable, yeah.
Yeah.
Evie, I think you'll be happy to hear I've begun a journey.
Yeah?
A journey to Rokonjima Island.
Yeah, let's go!
I started the other night reading through Umineko no Nakukoro ni, Ryukishi 07's totemic visual novel series. I have not gotten very far in it because it is 100+ hours long, and
It is a dense tome, is my understanding.
I basically have just been, after I get off call with y'all at the end of the night, like dedicating an hour or two to reading through some of it. So literally the last thing I did is I had like that first meeting between like all of Kinzo's,
All of the horrible
like,
adults.
yes, all of the horrible adults. I feel like it would take too much time in the beginning of this one to try and summarize what Umineko no Nakukoro ni is about.
Well, it's about 8 days long, but
It is a murder mystery visual novel that is very much in the magical realist vein. Quite literally magical through much of its runtime. And yeah, it's supposed to be very, very good. There have been parts of it that I've really liked. However, I am still running into the problem I had a little bit when I read Higurashi, which is Ryukishi 07 just he's got to learn to parse down his writing. Like, there's so much, like, there's just so much front loading. Like, the fact that you have like 3 or 4 different scenes of like Battler introducing like the family and their positions within the family before you get to like any of the drama is like, all right, man, I get it. I get that there's a hierarchy to this fucking family.
that reminds me, I have also actually been rewatching through The Simpsons, like, you know, one season at a time through like way legal means.
What is the connection in your head between Umineko and The Simpsons?
Just, you were talking about like going back and looking at things from like, because like it's weird, some things dated very interestingly, As you go back into that, I have run into one transphobic joke. There's a lot of like, please, my son can't be gay because it's the 90s, but there have been some funny little political nods that are just like, oh, nothing has changed. Like weirdly specific shit. Where it's just like,
one of my favorite visual gags is still like my favorite Simpsons visual gags is specifically like the Republican National Convention versus the Democratic.
Oh, where an elephant stampedes through both of them.
Not so much part, but like the sign out front of like the Republic, or no, it's like they have like a little like poster strip above them speaking, and like the Republicans is like, we want to make life worse for everyone, and the Democrats is something like
we don't know how to lead.
Yeah, we don't know how to lead. It's just like, yeah, that hasn't changed. We're still there. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, is that.
After you've gotten, like, speaking of The Simpsons and Umineko, after you get a little ways in, you should play The Simpsons, like, the Steamed Hams Umineko fan game.
It's so... I mean, I've watched Vinny Vinesauce play that. It's so good. It's just... I imagine it will hit harder the further I've gotten into it, though.
Probably.
But yeah, so haven't gotten far into it, but I am looking forward to it because I loved, despite its issues, I loved Higurashi and reading through that visual novel. So I'm definitely interested to see the emotional journey that Umineko takes me on over the course of it. Anyone else have other little things they want to talk about from the past week?
It's anime. It's happening here all around us.
Are you going to run down every anime series you're watching? Wait, no, you did that during the year one finale.
I just want to update. I've been passively watching the ninja show where she's with an assassination lady who kills people and she turns the dead bodies into leaves. She tries to
sounds like anime.
She tries to get a part-time job in which everybody tells her just lie on your resume because it's all a lie.
Oh, that's what that screenshot was from. Okay.
And she ends up not liking a part-time job because it's way easier to make a ton of money off of killing somebody. So she does that for a little bit, and then she's just like, I'm just gonna, help clean up my friend's murders. And they meet another ninja lady who's like the leader of the ninjas that defected. She basically conned everyone to do that. And she's a lesbian. And the reason why she left the ninja thing is to be with her significant other.
I wonder how Dead Leaves aged. It's probably not very good anymore.
It didn't age well at the time! What are you talking about?
You gotta understand, I saw it when I was a teenager on, like, my older sister's PSP, waiting for her to get out of a meeting.
Well, here's the thing, Bridget. I never watched Dead Leaves, and I remember listening to podcasts that did watch it and did not like it. There's still a weird, like, sect of people on the internet who like Dead Leaves, regardless of what the actual, like, objective quality of it is.
I just remember the guy with the drill dick.
Oh, the drill dick that actually shoots white fluid out of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You do know who that movie is by, right?
I did at the time, but I forgot who it was.
It's Imaishi.
That's
the first thing that the Kill la Kill Gurren Lagann guy did, was that.
From what I can remember of the direction, it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
That's what I meant directing. Sorry.
Hey, nobody's license rescued Dead Leaves. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. It's very niche. It's a cult classic movie.
Yeah.
Sex,
it is a thing that
stalking
happened.
is probably the closest to.
And that's Bree likes panty and stalking a lot, so that's why.
You say a lot. I don't know. Every time I rewatch it, I feel like it loses some magic, but I do still think it's a good anime. It's,
For sure. I don't have much to say about it. Is that everything you want to give us updates on in regards to anime?
I mean, yeah, basically we are both watching the Jam Girls and the new Gundam.
Yeah, the new Gundam is neat. The Rock Girls thing is funny at times.
He ate the Gundam fruit.
It's no Bochi the Rock, but it's all right. It's very explicitly queer baiting, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It's basically Rock Kakegururi.
I don't really want to watch.
It's metal. I think what you meant is it's metal. Yeah.
I've been learning as y'all have been watching things, and I've been losing the interest in it. Like, I don't really want to see Aristocrat Bochi. I think I have been so burnt out on like banned animes that I'm like, I can't anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, you didn't seem to even be in the other, like, you didn't seem to be into, what was the one we watched, GV?
Girls Band Cry.
Yeah, you showed me the first episode of that, and I feel like just, and listen, this is just my opinion on like one episode that I saw. It felt very like contrived and very just like, I don't know. It was so plain and so boring and insisted upon itself, and I was like, I don't like this. It's just
the show that has the most dealing with just leaving school and not completing it because it's awful.
I mean, reliving trauma is not really Bree's favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she found it boring, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Also, just look how special we are. The power of music. It's like, yeah, okay, shut up. Fuck you.
Listen, I can get behind some, like, the power of music type thing. I like Sound of the Sky, and that's not a very good show. That's like
there's
an
a
okay
visual
show.
novel on PSP you can play. It's English translated.
I literally just told you I did not like the show that much,
I'll
so
say-
I don't think I need to experience
The
it.
narrative reeks of youthful ignorance is the best way I can put it. That I just, like, it didn't catch me.
Sometimes that's what you need, but I understand if you didn't need it.
Yeah, the
at
way
that
it was
time.
done here just didn't really appeal to me. But anyway,
Yeah.
we have icebreaker questions, baby!
Well, we have an email from Owen
Oh,
here. No subject line.
oh, nice.
Thank you for the email, Owen.
Owen IRL.
Anyone else listening can email us at wifecitygaming@gmail.com, or you could follow us at putitonTheList.bsky.social and send us questions there too. Please follow, like, comment, subscribe. We're available on all podcast networks. Basically, I'm not sure if literally everyone. Anyways, Owen said, last time I compared Bree to Kobeni from Chainsaw Man, but her story of walking into the woods and 5 minutes later panicking that she was going to die of thirst and stuffing her face full of moss, bark, and grass while screaming for help is very Brianna wacky lesbian hour coded. If Bree interrupts, please explain that I am using exaggeration for comedic purposes.
I only ate leaves.
And then,
Bree licking the trees, sucking the sap out of them.
A mud puddle, I'm saved!
but Owen also attaches to this, let me share my screen here, attaches a picture of a bird, a gif of Ernest doing weird faces, and a rotating pink cat.
And for the people at home, look up the Weird Faces Ernest gif, okay? Find that. Are you ready? Are you watching it? Okay.
Is that like
That's
a bird
what's
from
going on.
Hatoful Boyfriend?
Maybe?
You know
I
what?
don't
It
know.
looks like it might be.
Also,
It has that preppy look about it.
He also attached an MP3 file of Simon and Garfunkel's classic song Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Which, for, copyright purposes, we can't play, but it's there.
Okay, so that's Owen's email.
Nice.
And then we have a comment on YouTube, which you can find us on YouTube at Wife City Productions.
Hell yeah.
It's a comment from Radio Inactive 99 on our episode about Prey. They say, one thing y'all briefly touched on but didn't get enough praise was how the movie made it clear that despite us hearing it as English, the characters are actually speaking Comanche. If you'll allow me to rag on Marvel for a bit here, in the MCU, everyone in the universe speaks English. It doesn't matter if it is an alien from 1,000 light years away, or even a godlike entity from outside reality. All speak in English, even among themselves when no human is present. It is such a breath of fresh air that this movie doesn't do that. For me, the funniest kill was during the fight where the trappers try to ambush the Predator. The Predator is just calmly staring down the barrel of a gun, daring the guy to shoot, and when he does, the musket ball ricochets off the Predator's face mask and domes a colonizer instead. Genuinely comedic.
It is a beautiful kill, that one.
Did you know that Trachtenberg is doing like some kind of like animated anthology thing for Predator, like the Predator franchise now?
I didn't know that.
I hadn't heard about that. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Like, I'm very interested to see what that is.
Yeah, and
It's just like a Saturday morning cartoon.
And I think I remember hearing that they eventually made like a full Comanche dub.
Oh, really?
Prey,
Oh,
if I remember correctly. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It was ranked right in the middle of our year one collective list. How did y'all like my surprise?
I really enjoyed it.
Of the math game at the end of us all ranking it.
That was very fun. I figured that's where we were headed.
Yeah, because it will continue.
Yes.
Here's the funny thing is I don't think we have to. But especially reflecting on where all the movies from last season landed for us, I think we could have, not a full ranked list, but I think we could have done a collective like top 10 without too much struggle.
I feel like it takes less time.
I don't think so.
Evie's shaking her head no.
There would be a lot of like
You forget
hurt
how
feelings and backing down and having to for the sake of time, and it would have taken longer than reading all our lists and doing the math. Like
I think at least like the top 5 we could have done, because like if you consider how high we all collectively had like Collateral, Good Will Hunting,
Slam
the
Dunk.
first Slam Dunk, like all those movies, like I feel like we could have done it.
The X argument would have been there. Like,
No, there's no way that X would have made it to the top 10. Like that would have been an easy elimination.
Well, of course, but I'm saying like
You didn't get it to your top 10. You wavered on it, Bridget. I see you giving a questioning look on it. Anyways, we don't have to dwell on that. Thank
No,
you,
we
Radio
don't.
Inactive
Thank you.
99 for the comment on that video.
I can't believe
Again.
our podcast surfed Dracula, the titular list from Put It on the List. Just like if the podcast is called Put It on the List, but the list doesn't show up until the season finale.
It's about keeping people on the edge of their seat. Now they know that the list exists, so it's all about getting through each season so we can see where it gets put on the list.
But they already knew that the list exists because it's in the title of the podcast.
But they don't get to see. It's like Jaws. You don't see Jaws until the end of that movie.
the terminology of putting something on the list, the idea was like that's what you say about like these are films we need to get to.
Yeah, films of all time.
Yeah, and so we get to it. However, there is now truly an objective one, and I think there's something magic about that. The old switcheroo.
Anyways, if no one has, we don't really have much in the way of other questions, so we can move on from there. Let's get started.
All right.
Bree, because you were the one who put the Big Lebowski on the list, you are in charge of running down like a plot synopsis and stuff. But before we get to that, I want to know, Bree, what motivated you to put the Big Lebowski on the list or on the wheel?
To be honest, you and I had seen it like a week prior. Again, for me, I guess it was your first time seeing it?
It was my first time, like, seeing it fully all the way through. Like, The Big Lebowski is one of those movies that's always existed as, like, a thing I see, like, a chunk of in passing on, like, Comedy Central or something like that, but not a thing I've, like, sat down and watched front to back
For
ever
sure.
before.
So, like, for me, I've seen this at many different times in my life. I was shown this by a friend as a teenager. I watched it again as an adult, in like my mid-20s. I think I've rewatched it. It's a fun little thing to go back to. Even just like rewatching it now, we've seen it now a couple of times in the past couple weeks, and I still enjoyed and laughed at it. I picked it because it is a cultural landmark that each time I watch it, I find something new to talk about. It is a thing it's a film that created sort of a religious movement called dudism. It is a thing that has like very much touched a lot of people and a lot of people love as a cult classic. It's just one of those things that I feel like there's a lot to talk about. There are a lot of theories that people have on it. Most of them are bad. There's one that I mildly kind of get that I will talk about later.
Hold on. What do you mean theories?
Just film theories. Just like...
What theory is there to have about the Big Lebowski?
Okay, so here's one.
A film theory.
Also, I don't think The Big Lebowski is a cult classic. You can buy a Target shirts of it.
The Big Lebowski is, I guess we could say, the main, the main character, Jeff Lebowski, people have said, like, he's Jesus. All of this shit is, like, happening to him, and, like, he's taking on all of the brunt of humanity and shit, and, like, he's just, like, this chill guy. But the big one is, like, the cowboy is God. And I laughed at that, and I was like, it's kind of funny to think about. But no, I picked it because it's a jolly romp, and...
Okay.
There's a big cultural... That's the reason that there are dumb theories about it, too, is because it had a major cultural impact.
Sure. Okay. Well, before we talk about everything surrounding The Big Lebowski, go ahead and give us a brief plot synopsis on what The Big Lebowski is for people who have somehow never heard of or seen The Big Lebowski.
So, basically, the way this movie works is because of someone misinterpreting this character's name with another person, they go after... The couple of toughs go after the wrong person, our main character, and assume that he's the person who, like, owes money to them. That was apparently the daughter of this other person, this much well-to-do guy.
Not daughter.
Not
wife.
daughter, sorry, wife, my bad.
Bad thing to mix up.
No, yeah, but I mean, but yeah, so that's basically the thing. There's a mistaken identity with that, and he gets wrapped up in this whole...
They piss on his fucking rug.
They pissed on his fucking rug. The idea being basically you have a situation where there is a... what's the word I'm looking for here?
Mistaken identity?
No, stolen...
Oh, kidnapping?
Kidnapping. Why couldn't I think of that
Kidnapping
word?
with a
There's
ransom.
been a
Kidnapping with a ransom situation.
There's been a kidnapping. It's Rachel, the daughter of the president of Sersia. Get into the castle and rescue Rachel.
Number 10.
There's been a kidnapping. Find Jeff Lebowski.
Get into the castle and find Jeff Lebowski.
But it is just about this guy and his friends trying to figure out this scenario. And it's... I don't really know how to make it brief. It's such a... That's basically the synopsis, though.
Well, yeah, it is a classic comedy of errors.
Yeah.
Like, in the way that only the Coen brothers could really, like, capture. Like, this is our first Coen brothers movie that we're talking about, and, like, for me, it's a weird one because I feel like we can argue this is probably the most lighthearted Coen brothers movie they've done.
It kind of is, weirdly.
Like, it's between this and Raising Arizona.
For a movie where a gun comes out, I think, before the half-hour point, it's pretty good in that. And,
what were you gonna say, Evie?
I think it's definitely the one that has, like, the broadest, like, cultural impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And, like, the Coen brothers, like, in terms of their writing and direction, are very much, like, a running theme in all of their things. It's kind of like the happenstance of the universe. Mm-hmm. Like, the way that everything that happens in life, like, they're very much the opposite of like life having like meaning and purpose. They're actual nihilists and thinking like, nothing means anything. Like everything that happens just fucking happens.
Yeah.
And that's how the world is.
Not to be confused with the actual nihilist gang in the movie.
Yes, not to be confused with the nihilists in the Big Lebowski, but like everything
just be
is
German.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They apparently were Kraftwerk at some point. Not so much by name, but by entirely the implication of the album they worked on.
But yeah, a lot of the Coen brothers centers around like just coincidence and happenstance being the thing that fuel the series of events that you sit down and watch.
And perhaps due to the relatability of that, I think that is part of just why they are such a funny, filmmaking crew.
It's so interesting to consider because they're phenomenal directors.
Oh, yeah.
And you see, while I was out in Las Vegas recently, I rewatched No Country for Old Men, and like you get to see like their craft like just exercised on this like really serious crime thriller, and then I turn around and watch The Big Lebowski and it's still using those same techniques, but it's like for entirely different like purposes. Like the way that you can like just sit in a scene. Like one of my favorite, not to get too far ahead of things, but one of my favorite funniest moments last night watching this movie was after like they fuck up the like money handoff, and like the phone is just ringing as he's sitting in the bowling alley. And the camera just fucking lingers on him alone in the frame as the phone keeps ringing, and it's just painstakingly slow in how it's like craning down to him. Like it'd be something that like is for like tension or like really putting you in the mood of a scene, but instead it's just being used to like really draw out how funny this is. Like
it's like God himself looking down on this burnout fuck up and being like, bro.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
And I think you kind of hit the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And then, of course, later he's talking with the police and the phone is still ringing.
Yeah. Police are kind of messing about with his pipe and the weed.
He just has his weed pipe out in front of the cops. Like, does not give a shit. What were you going to say, Bree?
I was just going to say, you kind of hit the nail on the head of one of the things that makes the Coen brothers so good that I never considered, is that I say dumb, but like a dumb comedy, like, whoa, crazy stuff happening movie really, really benefits humorously from being shot so well. And so, like when you shoot a movie with that intention of making something cinematic, with like, actually giving craft to your film, it makes the dumb shit so much funnier.
Well, it's how you can tell that they themselves are like just very funny fucking writers and directors, because even something like No Country for Old Men has those moments in it where like you can laugh at shit that's happening, like the scene with the store clerk that Sugar talks to, like has him like flip the coin. It's like incredibly tense, but like the guy ends up being okay at the end of it, and he like gives him the coin and like he's like urging him, no, don't put it in your fucking pocket. Don't do that. That coin traveled for 25 years. And like as he's walking away, he gives him this goofy fucking look, like just like I just espouse some like deep philosophical thing upon you, and the store clerk is just like, who the fuck is this crack that was in my store? But yeah, like ultimate point I was trying to make is that like it takes like a really funny person to understand how sometimes the funniest thing you can do is just sit in silence in a thing, like not be reacting to anything, just let a thing sit. Yeah. And that can be hilarious.
Because like in a way, like for the moment in the bowling alley, or just like there's not much you could do to make it more absurd, because like he's just sitting there and he's got his bathrobe on and he's got this fucking giant portable phone just sitting in his lap. He's waiting for his turn to bowl, and he's just sitting there. Like,
all he can do is think about how this lady is probably dead.
Yeah.
Now, with the constant reminder of the phone ringing, just like, well, all right. Like, so where do we even start with this movie? Like, this actually does feel like the most difficult movie that we have ever like talked about.
Yeah,
because
like,
it's.
Well,
go
like,
ahead, Evie.
I think the thing about this movie is that, like, there's so much, like, because the whole thing is, like, it's this one guy traveling through this, like, extremely convoluted plot that he gets, like, wrapped up in. It's a lot of noise, but no substance as far as, like, the plot goes. Like, ultimately, the stuff with the kidnapping and all that stuff, it doesn't fucking matter. And it's just an excuse to, like, follow this guy.
Yeah.
As he gets bounced off of and bounces off of all of these other people.
As his face and his car are slowly obliterated over the film.
It's really funny. Evie, you said something in there that like helped like click a point into place for me of like, it's all noise and no substance. Like, this is another Los Angeles movie that we are talking about here. And like, that perfectly captures like the kind of city that LA is. And it kind of ties into a thing that I want to talk about with the movie, which is like, it's a weirdly political movie, at least in the way that I view it, because like, one, it's like immediately post-Reagan, in terms of its timeline. And like almost every single like person, or at least like group of people, like represents like a different kind of like political mind in the United States. Like, you have the Big Lebowski, who's like the fucking like Trump type,
captain
like,
of industry.
Yeah, Trump captain of industry type person who like wants people to like pull themselves on up by the bootstraps, is like, no, you're just some fucking welfare queen who like doesn't give a shit about anything. Like, get a job, sir.
So and then you've got like the Zen slackers. You've got the like
I was talking about it. Yeah, you have Zen slacker in the dude. You have the fucking military vet in Walter, who's John Goodman in this movie is
so good.
He is maybe one of the funniest characters of all time. But yeah, just this very like libertarian, like don't tread on me, like believing in my American rights and what I fought for in the war.
Bohemian artists,
really,
nihilists.
The nihilists. But then you have Donnie.
Donnie, who's just there.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking dude.
He's just a guy who couldn't find like other friends, so he's just like stuck here trying to.
And here's the thing. Here's my grand theory, and it's less a theory and more of a thematic idea, because I'm not some fucking internet brained like.
I don't believe theories. I just think they're funny.
Donnie is representative of like the average American who has to live amongst all these different ideologies and like warring factions in the world.
Yeah.
Where it's like all these people who like try to espouse that they believe in all these things, like have these ideas that they stand by. And then the average American who's just gonna die of a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, he's the one who dies.
Because they're so under stress from all this noise like surrounding them. Like that to me is like, watching this movie for the first time was like the biggest thing that like really struck me. That was like, God, it's so fucking sad.
Yeah.
Like he just dies of a heart attack, and that's it.
Yeah. No, and it's like instant cut
to them in like the fucking like mortuary getting him cremated.
Where they're gonna charge a bunch of money to,
and they're just like, it's not worth paying $180 to get a vase. Let's put him in a fucking coffee can.
Let's put him in a Folgers
can.
I guess to pull the veil back a little bit. Recently, y'all, I'm okay for any listeners that hear me say this. My dad died a couple weeks ago, and he is being cremated, and I will be spreading his ashes. Upon hearing that this was going to be what we did in service of the man, I could not help but think of this fucking scene.
How can you
A
not?
little levity.
It's just like...
Where they pour it out and it just like wafts right into his face.
Like, it's why when you spread ashes, ideally you are doing it in the middle of the fucking ocean, so you can like read the wind and make sure it's actually going into the ocean and not
Into someone's face.
Not into someone's face. Back onto land. That's the other thing. None of those ashes make it into the sea. They all are just
considered.
either back in the dude's face or somewhere on the
rock.
shoreline.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, dude.
Sorry, Donnie, you're stuck on the California coastline for the rest of existence.
But there's a little
That's
Donnie
after
in all
he
of us.
says-
I'm Donnie. You're Donnie. We're all Donnie. You know,
He tries to say a prayer and then starts making it about
Vietnam.
Because, okay, so here's the thing about, like, the dude and Walter are, like, they're people who, like, clearly went through the 60s. And, like, the dude is, like, he was involved with, like, the left during that time. He talks about being part of the Seattle 7 or whatever.
That's just to briefly interrupt you. That's one of my favorite things is him like smoking the joint in the bed with the daughter of Lebowski, and him just casually saying, "You know the Seattle 7? That was me."
And like six other guys. Just like her face is during that scene is so funny because it's clearly just like, oh, this guy's such a fucking loser.
Yeah.
but he's good to brood with.
He's good to breed
with.
But like he is someone who is like who was part of the organized left in the 1960s, and like that whole part of the political spectrum just collapses in the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
And so like this guy, he just ends up being a burnout. Like he doesn't have anywhere to go to that. He like is a roadie for Metallica for a while, but he just ends up going, he's just kind of floating along. But
yeah, he
like,
just smokes weed and hangs out.
Yeah.
But like the interesting thing about like the way that the cowboy sort of looks at the dude, and he's just like, that's kind of great though, right? It's great that this guy is just like he's just chilling. Like he's just chilling, and he's like not being a huge asshole to everyone around him. Like he's just the dude. He's out there abiding.
Yeah, just a pacifist out there just existing and going with the flow.
And the thing about Walter is like he's a guy who clearly he went to Vietnam and he didn't completely make it back. Like he's just stuck there, and it's like he's a huge asshole, but it's like
he's
you feel for
also
the guy.
weird. He's also weirdly trying to not be an asshole though. Like the scene initially after the dudes come and piss on Lebowski on the dude's carpet, and like Lebowski, like, or I keep calling him Lebowski, the dude like makes uses a mildly racist term for an Asian American.
Yeah, that one was like, whoa.
Yeah,
that was a bit of a shock.
Walter like is going off, and then he's like, also, you can't say that word. That's an outdated phrase. They prefer this.
They prefer Asian American.
And then he immediately says it again.
And then he says it. Yeah. Also, is there a better like comedic duo to stick together than a pacifist and a veteran? I mean, come on.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's perfect.
When did these two become friends? It's so funny.
just the whole dynamic between those main three is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like, every single time they're getting into an argument and Donnie keeps trying to, like, butt in. Like, the scene where he keeps saying, I'm the walrus.
Yeah.
I'm the walrus.
Because he
Not that Lennon, you're out of your
Lennon for
element.
Lennon. It's like... It's so funny.
But, like, that also goes into, like, he tries to ask questions sometimes and get on a, like, wait, what's happening? It's too late. You're not in on this. And it's just like, I just want to know what's happening.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie!
You're out of your element, Donnie. Yeah.
It's so good.
You can't just pop in the middle of a thing. Like, this has been going on for a long time.
And that's like and here is the problem that you end up running into when talking about this movie is like you could just go on for hours about like all of the fucking funny bits that are in this movie. And so I want to return to the point that Bree, you were kind of talking about and Bridget kind of pushed back a little bit on, which is like the Big Lebowski status as like a cult classic, which I think the best way to address that is like in the immediate aftermath of that movie, like probably from like when it came out to like, I would say like later, like maybe mid to late 2000s-ish, that's when it was existing like as a cult classic. And I feel like it had enough time over the years that it essentially ran into the Monty Python and the Holy Grail problem, where like it's a movie that existed so much as a cult classic that it just kind of cemented itself in as like one of the most iconic like comedy films of all time, and has now reached a point of like saturation where like, don't get me wrong, I think this movie is fantastic, but like this is a quote machine of a movie, and it just pulls what some would argue is like the worst parts of like movie fandom and shit out of people.
Like, yeah, I'm not saying every day you're gonna see this, but there's a good chance, like, if you walk around enough, you'll see somebody with the Dude Abides shirt.
And listen, as someone who was raised in Arizona initially, I met a lot of people who were supposedly dudists, and they are the worst fucking people you've ever met in your life, of course. Well, I'm not done. But like but moving on, what the hell was my thought pattern going on here?
Talking about
dudists, they were the worst people.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like, talking about that sort of thing, the other thing about like the quote machine you mentioned, like it kind of has what we were looking over with like the Princess Brideian sort of issue, where it's like, in context, these quotes are so much more powerful than just recite them. Like, where they are, just it's so great. Like the Jesus, the weird pedophile guy telling them like, oh, I'm going to kick your asses, like going off on them about the whole thing, and he's just sitting there like, oh yeah, well that's just like your opinion, man. Like, after this whole fucking rant.
I think that line is like the like epitome of that in this movie, where like you see that fucking gif used like everywhere, like from workplaces to social media, all that shit. And like your mind doesn't like really track just how fucking funny that line is in the context of that film, because like him saying that is just so lackadaisical that it's so fucking good. It's just like, your opinion, man. Like, it's just because like how do you respond to like someone like that, like someone who looks like the Jesus confronting you in that kind of way? You can only respond in that way, or you respond like Walter does, of like pulling a gun out like you did with that other bowling team.
Well, I mean, the way that Walter responds in another way that he's diffused earlier is just turning to him and going, 8-year-olds, dude. Nothing you say can truly have any weight when you're just a fucking
when you're
pederast.
A pederast. Yeah.
But like, as far as like the moments that are like completely like removed from their context, it's like it's that one, or it's like the gif of Walter being like, God damn it, or like when they're in the when they're in like the
This is
the
what happens when you
mortuary.
fuck a stranger in the ass.
There's that one. But like,
The way that John Goodman is like pumping the crowbar as he says that is one of the funniest bits
that whole
of physical.
scene is just incredible. Like,
The way the kid's face just does not change.
No, it
Dude,
changes.
just in
Not even smiling out the window at their error, just looking
just
at
looking
it like,
out of it.
Is this your homework? Is this your homework?
no, that's his
Is
homework.
this your homework?
Yeah, hold on, dude. Is this your homework?
All the while, he has that look on his face, and his dad is still in the background in an iron lung.
Yeah, it's just like
so good.
the movie has existed as just like Brie touched on like our discussion about the Princess Bride earlier, and like I was thinking the exact same thing, where this movie has existed as like a cultural object for so long. You sort of miss out on like the texture of it as a movie, and that's a shame because like it's a lot richer for it, because like it's just like the way this movie is just, it's wild how funny this movie is.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I think is going to end up being like a running theme throughout this podcast. Like as we keep going through it, is Ziggy like wilding out over there or something?
His tail is
cat doing?
blocking the microphone.
Oh.
But I think it's going to be a running theme because especially for someone like me who, this podcast was like a big motivator to like just start watching movies more. Like I was not much of a film enjoyer before this. So I've been watching a lot of the movies of all time. And like probably one of the best examples was like watching like The Sixth Sense with everyone here. And like that's another like perfect example of like a movie that has existed so long as cultural artifact that when I watched it finally, I was fucking pissed that like it had only existed as a cultural artifact because of how good that movie is. Where it's just like, wait, y'all were just like memeing about this movie for the last like 20 some odd years. What do you mean this is like phenomenal? It like actually genuinely kind of incenses me that so many great films can just be like parsed down to like just fetish objects for pop culture effectively.
Yeah, like there's so much wild shit in a movie like The Fifth Element, but it gets boiled down to like multipass, and it's like, yeah, that's it.
No, that was the funny thing. When we watched that, I was like, man, that scene has no fucking power. Why was it given all this emphasis? I don't... Like, this is what people took from this?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it's... Speaking of... kind of on the inverse of that, I meant to talk about this earlier, but I was watching a YouTube video before the recording today of like the top 100 songs on Rate Your Music, and at a certain point,
oh, good Lord.
it hit Duel of the Fates, and you want to talk about something that like, no, it's good that exists as purely like a cultural fetish object, because like the Phantom Menace, not a great movie. Duel of the Fates though, Brie was like, I don't know that song is that good.
Well,
like,
here's the thing. I offered to hear it because, like, all I knew was just that motif being played at its height, like, for the ads. I don't think I remembered any of the actual music from the film. And you played that for me, and I was like, no, yeah, this is some, like, Final Fantasy Last Boss music. This is some shit. What is this doing in, like, the most kids movie that, like, they made for the Star Wars franchise?
I would argue that Duel of the Fates is maybe the best thing John Williams has ever composed.
It might be.
Like, as someone who's not a big John Williams head, that fucking song rips ass.
Like, he do kind of be making
good.
the same fucking score sort of over and over again, but that really stood out. Like, listening to that, I'm like, no, this is good. This is good.
I will say that, like, I've watched The Phantom Menace within the last few years, but like the moment with where Duel of the Fates hops in, the fight against, Darth Maul, where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight against him. Or it's just like, I think like that's a great moment in like a movie that's maybe not very good. I think that moment itself is still worth like, and honestly, Duel of the Fates is why it's part of why it's so good. But like, you got the performance from, I forgot the name of the guy who actually like plays Darth Maul, but like he radiates menace really well, and like Liam Neeson's there, and like Hugh McGregor's there, and it's just like that scene is very well put together.
Yeah, like
he's the best part of that film.
I would argue, like, I as a child. Episode 1 was my first Star Wars movie that I ever saw.
Probably same.
I think that movie did a lot of heavy lifting, because I remember not having a bad opinion on like Phantom Menace as a child. Theater. Well, both you and Brie.
No,
did.
I fell asleep during the second one.
Episode 2.
Well, the second episode's worse.
The second episode is just Space Congress. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, the first one is also Space Congress. But...
yeah, but like stuff happens in it.
Anyways, I think we have gotten
Star Wars digression done.
No, yeah. All I
Listen
want to say
a more
before we get off this
age
is...
for all your...
Oh,
I
yeah, they
see...
need the advertisement on our podcast.
Yeah, they really need the rub.
Walker needs...
I want to see the graph showing like fucking like the sales of costume contacts going up during like the following 2 decades because like,
of Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul was so cool is the only good thing in that film for me personally, that like it made so many people so perfectly want to go like, yeah, let's nail this. And then you go to a sci-fi con and you're like, there's the guy, there's one of the dudes, he bought the yellow contacts, he's doing it, he got the horn prosthetics.
Y'all, it wasn't us getting through the first year that marks us as a true podcast now. It's us having our first major digression during a discussion.
We've had so many digressions. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
I feel like this is the first major one we've had while talking about the movie itself, not like in the beginning during
But anyway. The other thing that I gotta say about, like, about the Big Lebowski as a whole, yeah, I mean, and just because it is a Coen Brothers film, amazing, like, visual gags, amazing, like, setups and payoffs. Like, the one thing, because people keep breaking into the dude's house and fucking shit up, he just gets sick of it, and he starts, like, boarding up a thing so that he can just nail a board to the floor and put a chair up against his door, which is immediately, the door opens the other way. Someone opens it up and comes in anyway. And then later, he comes back and trips over the board that he nailed to the floor. You get 2 payoffs.
It's so fucking funny.
It's amazing.
I mean, if we're talking about like little special things in it in terms of comedy, the noises that Jeff Bridges makes whenever he's like in a panic state in that film are so funny. The scene where they drop the marmot in the tub with him, or when he drops the joint in his crotch while he's driving, that weird like
turns into a chimp.
Makes.
Yeah, they drop the ferret that makes pig sounds for some...
The marmot, please.
Well, the joke is that he doesn't know what a ferret is, so he says, "Oh, that's a marmot."
Oh man,
he's just losing his shit after they drop it in the bathtub.
To be fair, you wouldn't think they would just drop alive.
Yeah, what is that supposed to do exactly? They have a domesticated fucking like ferret, and they're just dropping it in.
He's panicking like they dropped a piranha in the tub. Like
so
that's
good.
the thing that
it's
makes
flailing because it doesn't want to be in the water.
If somebody dropped a live animal that you are not used to, because some people are not used to being around a ferret, let alone a stranger's ferret that you just drop into a fucking
that you think
tub.
is a marmot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
his house, his car, and his face take so much abuse over the entirety of this film.
Talking about setups and payoffs, the running fucking joke of like just how continuously more and more fucked up the car gets over the course of the movie. one of my favorite gags is when they try to do the money handoff and like Walter tries doing like the action maneuver of like tucking and rolling out of the car, and the fucking Uzi he's carrying like falling on the ground and opening fire,
spinning around,
spinning and shooting himself with it is so funny.
Taking out the rear lights of the car.
Like it spins on the ground like Homer Simpson doing the whoop thing. It's just so good. Like I mean, we could talk about like the performance, like some of the physical performances, like Philip Seymour Hoffman as Brandt, like Lebowski's assistant. Like he's just so perfect. Like it's a thing that when you watch the movie like a second time and you know that like everything is all it's all meaningless and like everyone is trying to play everyone in this scenario, and like it makes a lot more sense that Brandt is like so stilted in every interaction.
He like he like
rigid.
hands something he just like stands
it's impossible to like do justice to the stance that Philip Seymour Hoffman does in the scene where he hands off like the ransom letter. Like it's like an action figure that you like glued its joints in place.
Yeah.
He has zero chill at all. Like when they're both in the car and the Big Lebowski is talking, he's just like
here's the funny thing is I would say Philip Seymour Hoffman has a shocking amount of chill like outside of those moments though, because you have those scenes where it's like just him and the dude interacting and he's just like, you know what it is, dude. Like it's just so matter of fact,
dude.
Yeah.
No,
don't say that. Don't do that to me. No. Listen, I was told to tell you this. Her life is in your hands, dude. Oh, no, man. Come on.
He's chill with the dude, but anybody above him basically is like he
emanates dudeness.
Yeah, because he's a kiss ass.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing.
He's the most like, this is what Milhouse grows up to be adult, but you know.
It's just a perfectly like.
Well, I guess really he's a Smithers actually, so never mind.
Yeah, he's very much a Smithers. Yeah, it's a perfectly performed movie in terms of like all of the actors in it. Like we've already talked about how John Goodman is like, John Goodman's movie is like maybe like top 10 like comedy performances of all time. Yeah. It's so fucking funny. The scene where he pulls out the gun on the dude in the bowling alley is just unmatched.
And it's great too because like when he first does that, you don't have any context if it's like actually loaded, but then he pulls it out and then afterwards they take time to show him take out the clip.
Taking the clip. Yes. Unload the bullet that is definitely in the chamber. Like
he stepped over the line. There are rules.
It's another like going back to this movie is like pop culture pop culture artifact, like that, like you're in a world of hurt thing. Like everyone just thinks about like him screaming towards the end of it as he's holding the gun, but like they don't acknowledge like him first pulling out the gun and just very calmly being like, you're in for a world of hurt, mark it as 0. Yeah. Mark it as 0. Like it's just it's unrivaled. And also Jeff Bridges as the dude, like the slower moments where he like the slower conversations with people are like part of what makes his performance so fucking funny. Like one of my other favorite moments is him talking to like the police chief and the dude is just fucking going off on him for like 5 fucking minutes about how he doesn't want him in this neighborhood. The Jackie Treehorn is like respected, and he like asks like, dude, like, do you get what I'm saying? And cuts, you get your reverse shot back over to the dude who's sitting there just kind of looking mildly condescending. He's just like, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. It's just like
and then he throws a mug at his face.
The impact of the mug is perfect. Yeah. But like the way that the way that he says, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention, it like blurs the line of like whether he's being a smartass or if he actually just wasn't paying attention in that scene, and it's what makes it.
This is also prior to a scene where he thinks he's being smart by like tracing what the King of Corn or whatever is drawing.
Jackie Treehorn clearly writes something down.
A man with an erection on like the doodle thing, but for some reason he takes it like it's some sort of.
Well, if he leaves it, it shows that he was trying to figure out what he was doing. So
Yeah,
it's like, well, I can't just leave this.
That's
there.
the thing. He takes it because he's trying to destroy the evidence. Like, I don't think he thinks it's important. I think he's just like, oh shit, he can't see that I was doing this. Like,
it pops up again when the police chief is going through his like only form of identification being a Ralph's membership card and that. And it's,
Southern California excellence.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Ralphs.
another thing, like, just, you know, of course, again, like John Goodman's character, like his like absolute anal retentive angry insistence upon just the dumbest selective things, and like
it's the Shaz bot.
Yeah.
Like it's a day of rest.
No, I can't do this on the on the Sabbath.
Saturday.
The Sabbath.
Or Sabbath.
Yeah. No, it is Shabbat, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shabbat.
Yeah, like I don't drive on this day, and the holiest. And it finally comes out after he's been harping on this for several scenes. You're not even Jewish, man. He's like, my wife was. I converted when I was with her, but you got divorced 5 years ago. Oh, so I guess I just stopped being Jewish.
It's like he's a guy that's just entrenched in the rules of society, and like
it's a law. You can look it up. I'm staying right here.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my coffee.
And then you have like Donnie, like we touched on Donnie already, but like, and him like butting in on conversations, but the way that like sometimes he'll just be sitting in silence, and like the way Steve Buscemi like physically plays it in the face, like you can see him like undulating between like just kind of being there and then like someone saying a thing that concerns him. Like it's so perfectly played that he's like understandably like perplexed by whatever the fuck they're talking about, but also like concerned because it's still his friends at time. They're talking about like a lady getting kidnapped. It's just
he plays it like a child watching his parents fight, you know?
I'm trying to think of any other character in a movie who has like as few lines as Steve Buscemi does, but still has like a out of the park performance like he does in that film. Like it's kind of amazing. It is a credit to how good of an actor Steve Buscemi is.
It's wild to consider this because like this is the movie that the Coen brothers made like right after Fargo, where Steve Buscemi just like talks nonstop in that movie. And it's like, it's just, Donnie's such a different character. And
he's like, I'm giving my throat a rest, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
We have the Dr. Moreau connection.
Yes.
David
one of the novelists.
showing up as just like his little pervert freak.
Weird creep. Just a weird fucking creep of a character.
After coming out of the island of Dr. Moreau, he's like, I'll do anything, please.
I want to talk about the Big Lebowski and just like, man, what a piece of shit. That guy sucks.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked the one scene where he's doing like his FDR like cosplay. He's just like, he's sitting in front of the fireplace. He's got like the little blanket over his lap, and he's just like, great men can cry too, dude. And it's like,
he's just like smoking a joint.
Yeah, him being like parallel to the dude in that scene who's just kind of like, this is a real bummer, man. And also all the while there's like opera playing in the background.
Ave Maria, isn't it?
yeah.
Like,
and it's just like, he's a total fucking fraud. Like, absolute fraud.
As all those types of individuals tend to be.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
But also they pin him too much as a fraud, and Walter is like, I think this guy's a fake paraplegic. Let me grab him.
I've seen a lot of spinals in my day, and I've never been more sure of anything. This guy can walk.
And he lifts him out of the chair and throws him onto the ground. Just like cementing Walter as the worst character in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, so I've watched this movie 2 times in the last month and change. One time was stone cold sober, and my main takeaway from the movie was just how awful Walter is. Like, he's just the fucking worst
person.
He's an awful person.
Yeah.
He's an awful person, and the thing that makes him so awful is he's an awful, stupid person.
Yes.
Like, he is a grade A idiot who does not realize just how stupid they are. And the second time I watched this movie in its naturally intended habitat, I took a full edible before watching this last night.
You were flying.
I mean, my main takeaway was just how funny this fucking movie is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the things that I was surprised by how much they killed me while high were the weird dream sequences that happen in this movie, because I think you watch the movie sober and those scenes are just kind of like weird, silly interstitials that they're funny, but
yeah, they're fun. But
they don't do too much. But when you're high, those scenes feel like a million years long, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Why?
This tiny dude just came into this massive stone wall dancing around. Why is this bowling ball camera going on forever?
Flying over the city of Los Angeles while a lady's on a magic carpet in front of him. Like, it just... Every time one of those happened, it just... It sent me over the moon, personally. It was a great way to enjoy the film. It was already a very funny movie, but it did make it funnier.
It can be enjoyed in many different ways, but that does help.
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
I don't know if I have too much else to say about it at this point.
Porn star Peter Stormare is very funny.
Oh, his awful mullet.
Lord.
His just absolutely dreadful mullet that he has is
a catastrophe.
The fact that when the fight happens between them and the nihilists at the end of the movie, he has a fencing sword that he pulls out.
He has a saber, and then he immediately gets owned by Walter, just chucking a fucking bowling ball at his friend, and Walter just eats his ear. It's
and then spits it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Knocks the guy's wind out with a bowling ball, rips the other guy's ear off with his teeth.
He probably did more than knock the wind out of Flea. He probably broke Flea's ribs.
Probably.
He threw a bowling ball at him full force. God.
I'll say, not specific to this movie, but the first thing that rewatching this really fucking hit me in the not really nostalgia, but just the oh yeah, that was a thing, was those little electronic red coupon dispensers that were in grocery stores,
supermarkets.
Yeah, and I'm just oh fuck, that was a thing. What a waste of paper and electricity those were. What the fuck?
But all
guess what? They still exist.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
I have not seen those in at least 10 years.
Mm-hmm. It's probably more of a thing at more major grocery stores.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I've seen them at a Publix.
Oh, for sure. I don't know. I guess where I've been, they've been kind of phased out.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
you have Publix too?
Mm-hmm. We're in the same region of the country.
Yeah, you're both in the southeast. What are you talking
I
about?
remember the first time we had you out here, Bridget, and you were like, "What's a Jack in the Box?" And I'm like, it's acid reflux.
She saw a hill for the first time and was doing the gif of the guy being like, "What?"
The ground goes up,
and then it goes back down.
Whoa!
Well, that's a Florida thing, because we have mountains here.
What's she pulling the camera?
It looks like that.
It's a blown out window.
Yeah.
Come on,
looks like God is about to pick in and punch you in the stomach.
This is a great visual joke for our audio only podcast.
That didn't work.
It looks like
so that we can't see shit.
Yeah.
Does anyone have other specific things that they want to touch on in this movie? Because I feel like
Julianne Moore is great in this movie. as like Big Lebowski's daughter, who is just like a weird avant-garde artist.
Yeah, avant-garde feminist like artist.
No, she is great.
Vagina.
Yeah.
Happiness. Happiness. Vagina.
But it's a great one. I also love just like I was just gonna say there are moments where he's very much like what's his name from Trailer Park Boys, where it's just like he still has that glass with the drink on him from like her place to the car back into his home. Like he just always with a fucking White Russian in his hand in this case, and it's just like goddamn.
I mean
the scene where he's like smoking a joint and drinking a beer while he's driving, just like. Getting crossfaded.
I mean, whenever he drinks the White Russian and gets like the liquid stuck in his shitty mustache,
he just sucks it out with his lower lip.
When you like first meet him, he like opens up a thing of milk and just like
in the grocery store,
and then has the milk mustache left.
Also, it's half and half.
Oh yeah, it's not even milk; it's creamer.
He's just trying to find something that works.
Yeah.
He's like,
he's going to use the rest of it for, White Russians, so I get it.
Oh my god.
And yeah, it's, man.
What were you going to say, Evie?
I like her, Maud, the Julianne Moore's character. Her, all of her weird art stuff juxtaposed against, dude's landlord doing his, like, dance thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about like a perfect like setup payoff thing? Like he says that the landlord like asking him.
I just realized that's who the dancing guy was. I didn't.
That's
his landlord.
The thing. That's the thing. Is it plants it so early in the movie and comes back around to it so late that you forget about it. And it almost feels like you're in another dream sequence when that like dance sequence is happening, and you're kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you like get a look at the guy and you're like, oh, that's the fucking landlord. This is the thing that he invited him to.
Walter shows up like he's dressed for church.
Yeah, and I think that's a very LA, and also for me, like, when you know a lot of people who are trying to be artists and get somewhere, you have to go watch their shitty thing that they're bad at. I've known people like that.
But hey,
it's
at least he's trying.
He's trying, but it's...
dude showed up.
He did.
Dude showed up, despite the dude definitely still not having paid his rent.
Yeah, those three people and I think one other person in the entire audience of that. And it's
magical. Magical movie.
It is. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing listening to us spoil it? Go watch it. It's so good. But
I guess what are your final thoughts on? Because unless anyone else can think of anything to touch on in it, but I feel like we've kind of run out.
I saw, just looking at the online data repository that the Coen brothers took from like the works of Raymond, or like were inspired by the works of Raymond Chandler in writing this movie. So like stuff like the Maltese Falcon and like all the Sam Spade type stuff. And it's very funny to consider that when you think about like how much like the conspiracy detective stuff just like doesn't fucking matter at all. Like how it's just like
fucking like noir detective who pops in like 2/3 of the way into the movie, like a guy who's from an entirely different fucking movie. He's just like, I like the cut of your jib, kid. The stuff that you're doing there is amazing. And Lebowski is just like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Leave my lady friend alone.
And he's just like,
she's not my special lady, she's my lady friend. Man.
And he's like just trying to find Big Lebowski's wife, who like her parents like back on the farm like want her to come back. It's just like this other tangential part of the plot that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, like the thing about her at the end of the day, like the fact nobody knows where she is, even though she is not in fact kidnapped, she just went on a fucking trip.
Like, that's the thing. Like, literally at that point in the movie, I think you see, like, the noir detective shows up and it just, like, really cements into place, like, just how fucking meaningless all of the stuff with Bunny has been throughout the film. It's just like, oh, literally none of this mattered. Like, this is just, like, been a pointless farce of a bunch of conflicts here.
But yeah, I think I'm ready to give my general final view of this.
There's one more thing. Also, I like the consistent joke of basically everyone trying to pay him the same. Is like, oh, you get 10% of blah blah blah.
Yeah.
$10,000
of like $10,000 or like some percentage of this money that doesn't exist.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, my final thoughts on this. Of course, glad I picked it. We just watched it so recently enough, and I was like, these were all the things I wanted to discuss. I feel like there's so much to kind of what.
No, it's fine. We're good.
Ziggy was starting to pass over Evie's keyboard.
There is just so much to pick apart about this film as we have. It's such a fun romp, and like as you kind of pointed out, like, you know, and that just being the Coen brothers way, the comedy of errors, the constant just chaos that unfolds. The fact that this poor guy, you know, the dude is just kind of the target for Murphy's Law. Just everything that can happen does, and it's all just so meaninglessly just, you know, insanely destructive. As I said, like his apartment, his car, his face takes so much fucking abuse. Mm-hmm. You know, but like you watch this continuously wear at him with so little point of where it was going. Like there's just no point other than the chaos itself. It is so fucking funny. It's so competently shot and written. It's just every character, like we love this in a film. Every character like is perfect for what they're playing. I get why it was the impact that it was, and as we've said, you know, it sucks that kind of all art and culture is stolen by, I know it's a big budget movie, but you know, the general zeitgeist of like, you know, pop culture as a whole commodifies the unnecessary sound bites outside of their intended purpose and place. It sucks that that's the case, but I think that it really holds its own this much later. It's such a freaking amazing thing that I highly recommend watching. I think if you need a chuckle, this one's for you. Yeah. It's a wonderful film still. What do you have to...
My final thoughts is this has the only real way to watch or listen to Hotel California.
Yeah.
In it.
Probably the best thing to come of the unfortunate Jesus character.
Fucking phenomenal, like, Spanish cover of Hotel California. It's
pretty good.
Evie, what are your final thoughts?
The movie's fucking great. It hadn't occurred to me that this is actually the first Coen Brothers movie we've done for the podcast. Surely it will not be the last.
Oh no, yeah, no, there's a few.
But yeah, like I think, Bree, you're right in that, like, you know, when art is a commodity, like it hits in the way that this movie did, like it's kind of inevitable that it's going to kind of be robbed of its meaning and kind of reduced to like sort of pop cultural artifact. But like I think but you know, another way to look at that is that like in order for it to hit like that, it had to be something that could like touch people, and like, yeah, it's a movie that touched people, and like it's which is weird to consider because of how fucking absurd this movie is. But yeah, it's a fantastic film. I think people should watch it if they have.
Yeah, I think its relatability, as I said earlier, is kind of like that's the beauty of the Coen brothers sort of thing. It's just like, because the comedy of errors of the universe just unfolding on people is such a relatable, like, because really there is no purpose behind any kind of suffering or problems. They just happen. And I think we can see ourselves in these characters in a beautiful way, and we can relate to them. You know, as you were saying, basically, as we were talking about, like, everyone's Donnie, like everyone at the end of the day. But yeah, no, it's really, really nice. What say you, Bridget?
Yeah, as the person. Sorry.
I don't imagine we're going to do this. We're going to do it anytime soon. But Fargo is also really great. You should also watch Fargo if you haven't seen it.
It's fucking fantastic. Bridget, as the person starting us off proper in our cycle, give us your final thoughts and then take us into your next film.
I mean, this movie's great. It's kind of hard for me to talk about just because it is, it's the dude.
Yeah, it's one of the films of all time.
Yeah.
Like
The fucking movies.
Yeah.
it's one of the fucking movies.
It's truly one of the fucking movies.
It is, at least in our current times, a wildly popular, well-known movie. So well-known, it has multiple foreign dubs, even in the same language.
We know where this is going.
That's right, everyone.
What's your connection? Who is the actor here?
It's Issei Futamata.
Okay. Who plays
Donnie in the 2000s dub.
Okay.
Because it had an original dub from the 90s. And then I guess when it was released on Blu-ray again, it had a different Japanese dub.
Gotcha. Okay, so Isao Futamoto, you said?
Futamata.
Futamata, sorry. Okay. And what do they play in the movie that you're gonna be picking out?
They play Shinshi.
Shinchi?
Shinshi. Yes.
In
a movie that also has 2 English dubs, by the way.
Oh.
We're going back to anime, and
obviously.
This is probably going to be the most serious movie I pick, or at least because we are watching Pat Labor 2, the movie, a movie about terrorism.
Let's go! Let's fucking go, baby!
Interesting.
So question for you in those regards. Do you feel like Pat Labor 2 needs much in the way of context of the rest of Pat Labor?
Other than there are giant robots that are cops.
Who are cops, okay. For sure. You feel like the characters like are well established enough.
That's actually how I first watched Pat Labor, was that movie, not
tight.
Because I mean, we'll get into it when it's the episode proper, but the original show is a comedy.
Yes. I'm not super familiar with Pat Labor, but I know that much, at the very least, is that it's a, cop comedy show.
That's right, everyone! We get to talk about the sarin gas attacks!
All right, Bree, this is going to be your greatest challenge to date. Do not say anything incredibly incendiary during the episode where we talk about terrorism.
No
I don't
promises.
think she can make
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, no promises.
Wait, I have an idea. We do the podcast, and then you doing the editing just put a bleeping noise over every time I talk.
No, I specifically keep in any instance of you saying, I think, and then the bleep happens. I think.
Bree, your final thoughts? Really, when you...
Oh, God.
Personally think that...
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Pat Labor 2 is one that I've really wanted to watch for a while now, so I'm pretty hype about that. In that case, Bridget, where can people find you on social media?
I can be found at twitch.tv/Sasquatchless, streaming various things. By the time you hear this, the 1996 is over in anime video games.
I mean, it's been over for
in our retrospective.
It's been over for nearly 30 decades. Or 30.
33 decades. That's a lot.
I'm on Blue Sky. I think my most recent art was the very good piece of art with me playing a video game and having a vibrator.
It is a really cute piece.
Bree, where can people find you?
Oh, I thought you were asking what I thought of that piece. It's nice. You know what? I haven't been streaming lately. I'm taking kind of a break. So really right now the best place to find me and find my artwork is over on vgen.co/asnesbo, ASNESBO. You can hire me. You can look at my artwork. You need branding. You need a VTuber. You need stuff. I got you. I can draw your OC naked. Whatever you need. But you can find me over there on some of the stuff that I do.
Can you also draw them clothed?
Especially clothed.
Thank you. That sounds like a good deal.
No, yeah, I know it's rare, but you can. I specialize, in fact, in like really cool outfits and stuff. But I first learned to draw the human form, so I'd know how that would look in it.
Sorry, I've been distracted during all this, seeing Evie just poking Ziggy for like the last 2 minutes. It's poke, 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 poke. What about when you start streaming again? Where can people find you?
You can find me over at twitch.tv/easybreezytv. That's EAZYBREEZY TV.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Evie, can people find you anywhere?
No.
Cool.
Other than
Except-
occasionally guesting on Bridget's streams sometimes.
Gotcha. Similarly, I am occasionally on Bridget's streams guesting sometimes. You can find me on social media. I'm not going to tell you where you can find me, but I will tell you where you can find the podcast. You can find the podcast at putontheList.bsky.social, Wife City Productions on YouTube, anywhere major podcasts are sold. Leave us a comment, comment, subscribe, yada yada yada.
We have an official website too.
Share us with your friends. Our official website is putontheList.neocities.org. Somehow I accidentally skipped over the Gundam episode when I was putting things on our website. So it just goes from episode 22 to episode 24. Oops. But yeah. That's where you can find that. And now the podcast is over. Go home. Bye.
Bye. Second movie with Twin Towers.
Yay!
What reviews connected by cast or crew deciding the next film, that's the gist. Put it on the list.
Okay, I'm back.
Hooray.
The fan is off. It's going to get very hot in here, but it should be fine.
It's time to be a sweaty hog bod.
I'm a
That's my
sweaty
secret,
little
Jay.
Zeddy.
I'm always a sweaty hog bod.
Let me see if there's been any new emails. Okay, wait. It looks like we do have a new email from one Owen.
Yay.
Who else could it possibly be?
I'm sorry, it's called The Axis Adventures Truth Seeker Battle Against the Lies, which is a Christian game. A Christian RPG.
And it's an anime game?
No.
Oh. I figured that's why you were looking for it, because it's an anime game.
No, I'm looking for it because one Barley Bap posted this, and I was like, I need to play this. You should listen to this video I just posted.
I am looking into the weed problem. I will smoke all of the grass.
And Wayne Radio TV got the goggles I wanted like so bad since I was a kid, and I didn't even know you could still get them. I imagine he just like bought them from someone who had them, because I don't think they still make those ones that like wrap around the top of your head. Mm-hmm. But I gotta see what that bit is. It looks hilarious. I'll check that out later.
I mean, I think it was the 420 stream.
Oh, nice. Then I absolutely need it. Oh, sorry.
It's stuck on the wire.
Shit. No. Anyway.
Okay. I guess that's that. How do you like my fresh haircut, Bridget? As she simply smiles shyly.
Ask me.
How do you like my fresh haircut?
Resplendent.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you.
As I take my thesaurus and just pop that back
I
into
do
my
not
pocket.
know how to formally start this episode of the podcast.
Hey, our tea's
so I'm
ready!
just kind of bullshitting. And I guess we still have the tea to wait on in the meantime.
No, it's done.
I think my recording starts with like a burp, so enjoy that.
Oh, good. Great. I'm looking forward to that.